Howdy.
Howdy.
Hi, Alan. So the purpose of storytelling, I think, is what we are here for today, really. You know, it's bringing people together, sharing ideas, how we can make these ideas work, and thinking of new ways to tell old tales. And if we can do that, we can make anything happen, which has been proven by the people here today, the people with experiences today, and the people that are going to make the experiences happen tomorrow. I chose George Lucas because the whole theme of, as Alan mentioned at the intro, the whole theme of community starts with our children, brings it up to adulthood, into later life, and back to our children again. And it's that continuous cycle that makes everything happen, makes the magic happen. Back in 1977, George Lucas made a little bit of magic happen. He came up with a little movie called Star Wars that, well, blew me away. I was showing my age here, but I was 8 at the time. And I remember going to the cinema with a bunch of friends. I'd been pestering my uncle. My dad had just died of cancer that year. So I'd been pestering my uncle to actually take me and see the movie that my dad was going to take me to see. And I had to keep pestering, and eventually we lined up with about, I don't know, 4 blocks, I guess, of kids, teenagers, parents that wanted to see this movie. Because it'd been an amazing spread of word of mouth about Star Wars. So we get in, and I'm sat there, lights go down, and all I can remember is this huge, you know when the original Star Wars came out, who went to see it in the cinema when it first came out, yeah? Remember sitting there, and this huge spaceship just kept going on, and you thought, whoa, never seen this before. Previous to Star Wars, the biggest sci-fi movie had been 2001, Stanley Kubrick's 2001. But they had, as beautiful as that looked, and as amazing a tale that was, they had really slow, lumbering spaceships. Now, the Star Wars Star Destroyer, that was a slow, lumbering spaceship, but man, did that lumber well. It was cool. It was such a cool spaceship. And George Lucas, the thing with George Lucas with Star Wars, the movie almost never got made. He was sat in a room with a bunch of other guys that went to the San Francisco Movie Academy or University. And these were people like Martin Scorsese, Francis Ford Coppola, Steven Spielberg. And he played him a rough edit of what Star Wars would become. And it was that rough, the special effects hadn't been dropped in. So all the space battles were duplicated by World War II dogfights. So you had Japanese Zeros taking it on with British Spitfires, with everything US, I'm not even sure what the US planes were at the time. So my history is pants. I apologize now, I'll get some historical facts wrong. But everybody hated it and said it was going to bomb, apart from Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg loved it. And to me, that tells me that as great directors as Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola are, the storytellers are the people like George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. And they're the ones that have got the audacity, if you like, to tell a tale and use technology to tell the story. So obviously, Star Wars, it came out, huge success. The funny thing with Star Wars, it was made for $6 million. You imagine making a movie blockbuster today for $6 million. You wouldn't get Tom Cruise to sign up for $6 million. Never mind make a whole movie. Lucas was hoping that it would break even, or at least, pay the bills and hopefully make some more independent movies afterwards. It ended up making $300 million. It led to, obviously, The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and many more. Where Lucas succeeded is he kept it human. You were dropped into this universe, and immediately you believed what was happening because it was a beat-up universe. You didn't have the clean, crystal space corridors that you had from Doctor Who and TV shows that I grew up with back in the UK. It was dirty, and people were just talking to each other, had a beat-up, like Millennium Falcon. Who doesn't like the Millennium Falcon? How cool is that spaceship? That's like everybody's first car. Never starts in the winter, always working on it. It's a crazy, cool-ass spaceship. And Lucas made that human. He made the connection and made it all real to us that were watching it. And that's where Lucas's magic was. And he continued that into Empire Strikes Back and into Return of the Jedi. So the first trilogy, the original Star Wars trilogy, is an amazing piece of humanistic, simplistic storytelling. And it connected with us because it connected with the child in us, and it connected with the adult in us that thought, this is quite cool technology that he's using here. And what Lucas had to do, he had to actually start a development house called Industrial Light and Magic because the technology wasn't around at the time. So instead of saying, oh, we can't make this movie, he had the vision to get a bunch of cool people to bring technology, to bring his human story to life. And that's what we all need to do. If we can bring technology and bring our human stories to life, that's where we start to make the difference. Of course, fairy dreams don't always last forever. And Lucas started to get seduced by the dark side. Anybody that likes a Star Wars fan, the dark side of the Force, not a good place to be. In 1997, he decided that he wanted to update the Star Wars trilogy with new special effects, new CGI effects that were around. The technology wasn't there back in the 70s and 80s, but it now was there. So he wanted to update his movies, so to speak. And some of it worked, some of it never worked. And what worked, he took forward to the new trilogy, which came out in 1999. And that was probably where the dark side really made an appearance. Now, I'm not going to blame it all on Jar Jar Binks, because to me, he was annoying, but to some other folks, he was cool. You can't blame it on Jar Jar. But I think where Lucas maybe swayed a little bit was he got seduced basically by technology. He thought, wow, we've got amazing computers that can do amazing graphics, that can get living beings on screen that we could never have imagined 20 years ago. And he brought that technology and lost a little bit of the story, a little bit. He started talking about, instead of just space battles and good versus evil, he started talking about symbionts, midichlorians, Trade Federation blockades. And it was like, you're sitting in a cinema as a Star Wars fan, and you're thinking, what happened? Still great movies, and I don't know if you kids saw the new Star Wars. Did you like them? No, don't blame you. So it's still good stories, and it was still a human approach. But it just, for me, it kind of lost some humanity, moving from the technology that was available to the technology that had happened 20 years previously. You compare the love stories, Han Solo and Princess Leia from the originals, to Anakin Skywalker and Padme and the new ones. And the originals kind of had that, you felt for these guys, you didn't quite connect with Anakin and Padme. You look at the memorable characters, Darth Vader is the meanest badass in the universe. And you look at Darth Maul, pretty cool, got a double-ended lightsaber, but he got whooped by a Padawan, a little Jedi trainee called Ben Kenobi. So you think, the characters, you didn't quite connect with the new characters, you didn't quite connect with the new stories because the technology parts got in the way. But the thing is, technology can keep you entranced and can really tell you human emotional stories. Dimensionless social media for social good. Some amazing things are happening on the platforms that we're using today. Twitter, Facebook, your blog, YouTube, SlideShare, anything like that. There's amazing tales happening every single day where people are using the technology to tell human stories. If you go on Twitter, that's one of the most, obviously we're trying to raise, at 12 for 12K, we're trying to raise funds for different charities throughout the year. Twitter has been an amazing platform for us. And you look at how else Twitter has been used to connect humans and human beings and the emotional impact of what happens in our everyday lives. When the Mumbai terrorist attack happened last year, Twitter was the one that broke that. CNN came on about, 2 hours later and started updating their feed. But CNN even recognized that Twitter was the platform that broke the Mumbai terrorist attacks. When the airplane came down in the Hudson River over in New York, again, a happenstance, one of the passengers had a smartphone with him, uploaded a picture straight to the TwitPic feed that goes through Twitter. And the first news story that happened about the Hudson plane landing in the plane landing in the Hudson River last year happened on Twitter. So there's amazing things happening on the platforms. If you look at YouTube, there's a guy over in Sydney, Australia, called One Man. Is he a relative of yours, by the way? No, I was thinking that, actually. I was thinking, I wonder if he's related to Neil. One Man is the guy that does the Free Hugs campaign. Is everybody aware? Seen the Free Hugs video? Yeah? It's an amazing story where Juan was over in the UK, decided to go back to his native Australia, and he felt a stranger. He felt nobody wanted to connect with each other. It was like everybody was so busy, so fast with their own lives, that the human touch had been forgotten. So what Juan did is he got a cardboard sign saying Free Hugs. And he went down to the busiest plaza in Sydney and just walked about all day with a sign hung above his head saying Free Hugs. No catches, no gimmicks. If you want a hug, come to me, I'll give you a free hug. And for about 2 hours, nobody went near him, because he looked kind of bohemish. He's a typical, and I say this with the greatest respect, he's a typical hippie, if you like. He's got the ponytail, the raglan hair, the ragamuffin dress. It's love. I love that look. I love it. But he did, if you're walking about with a free hug sign, you're thinking, okay, I'm not sure if you're there. But eventually, this woman, she'd be about 50-year-old, I think, and her dog had died that morning. She had to put her dog down. And she saw Juan with his sign, and she went up to him and started speaking to him and told him what had happened and gave him a hug. And other people started seeing this, and went up to Juan and gave him a hug. And this started building and building. And the video went up on YouTube. And that was in 2006. And as of yesterday, it had just short of 55 million views. And it was voted YouTube's Video of the Year for 2009. It's an amazing, amazing story. The Sydney police actually tried to ban Juan from walking around with his sign. And they got a petition going. And 10,000 people signed this petition within a 48-hour period. And Juan was allowed to walk back with his sign again. He's been on Oprah Winfrey, he's been on Leno. The guy is amazing. If you've not seen the video, go to YouTube, just type in free hugs, and you'll see it at the very top of the search result. So you can see that technology can tell human stories. And that's where we need to concentrate on the humanity side to make the change happen. Last month, 12K partnered with an organization in the US called Epic Change, led by an amazing girl over in Florida called Stacey Monk. Epic Change was born from Stacey's heartache. Her brother passed away a few years back, and she realized that she had so many things that she never got to do with her brother that she wished she had done. And she went through a period of, obviously, mourning and wondering why she'd never done anything like that. And from that heartbreak, Epic Change was born. And what Epic Change, as the name suggests, all it wants to do is create change that will really make an epic difference. Their project at the moment is a school in Tanzania. And last year, they had an event on Twitter called Tweetsgiving. It was based around the US Thanksgiving holiday. So a lot of play on words there, Twitter, tweet, Tweetsgiving. But it's a global event. It's not just restricted to the US. And over a 48-hour period, they raised $10,000, which built a classroom in Tanzania. That classroom has now led to 300 kids going to the school over in Tanzania, and it's the school that gets the best grades, the best results, year in. The kids are amazing, all the teachers are volunteers, and it's just an amazing thing that's happening over there. The Epic Change team went there this summer and dropped in the very first laptops and set up a wireless station. So you've now got kids in Tanzania that can jump on the internet, learn from the internet, jump on Twitter, watch YouTube videos, start a blog, do anything they want, all from this one idea that was born of heartbreak. This year, they repeated the Tweetsgiving experiment, and over 48 hours, raised $30,000. That can now build a library and a gym. Now imagine the learning and the knowledge that these kids are going to get from having their own library in the middle of nowhere in Tanzania. And what I loved about the whole project this year, where the real story and the emotion came to bear, was to kick the actual Tweetsgiving event off. The very first tweet that came out about Tweetsgiving 2009 was from the Twitter kids over in Tanzania. They'd logged onto the internet, they logged onto Twitter, and says, "Hi guys, thank you so much. Tweetsgiving 2009 is live." So it came full circle, where the donations went to build a classroom, they got the technology, they got the kids taught up, now came full circle and launched the 2009 event. So things like that inspire. You can get inspiration from technology. You don't have to let technology take over our lives. We can use it to enhance our lives, but it doesn't have to take over our lives. One of the ways that some of the cool apps that are happening with technology at the moment, where again it can come back to the human angle, is how it's being used. Over in Japan, there's a company called OKI, which is a cell phone manufacturer. And they've made a smartphone that uses eye recognition software. So you can't switch your phone on until you scan your iris. I mean, okay, James Bond and TEDxOttawa have been doing that for 20, 30 years or whatever, but this is consumer eye scanning software. And it's amazing to think that nobody can use your smartphone unless you've got your eye scanned. Toshiba's just launched a range of laptops that map your face. And you can't switch your laptop on, or you can't access your laptop unless the camera recognizes your face, which is great if you want to have an extramarital affair. Not that I do, but if you want to have anything, secrets, just in case my wife's watching on the feed. Just, if you want to have, if you've got obviously a laptop, if you lose a laptop on the public transport, the worst thing that can happen is people go in, get all your files, get all your passwords, anything like that, and can break into your bank. So the fact that they have the face mapping technology is cool. But what would be really cool is if we took that one step further and really started telling stories with this technology. So imagine you've got a smartphone that's got the iris, the eye recognition software, and you're walking down the street, and for whatever reason it does happen, a driver loses control at the wheel, mounts a sidewalk, and takes out 6 pedestrians. Now you've got maybe a young mother with a kid in a buggy. You've got 2 kids walking down to go to the toy store. You've got an elderly couple, and all 6 get hit. Now, you're not a paramedic, you're not a doctor, you don't know who needs urgent medical attention first. You may have a 10-minute section before the paramedics get there from the hospital. And that 10 minutes could mean the difference between life, death, disability, a lifetime in a coma. Anything can happen at a trauma situation. Now, imagine if the smartphone with the eye recognition software was a little scanner, and you could go over to each one and scan the person. You can tell a lot from someone's eyes. You can tell if there's been a head injury. You can tell if they're having internal problems. But you can also gauge from reaction of facial muscles. You can also tell from facial muscles what's happening to a human body. Imagine if you could take your smartphone over. You scan each person that's been injured, and that smartphone is patched through to the local paramedics in the local medical centre. And they prioritize who needs the medical attention first. And they can actually guide you while you're on scene what you can do for that person. You're getting live medical aid. You're getting years of knowledge from professionals that would be doing this on the scene when they arrived. But you're doing it instead of waiting for the medical team to arrive. Now imagine if you've just saved 6 people's lives because all you have is something stupid as a BlackBerry or an iPhone. That'd be cool. That's where the stories come in. If you can connect the technology to the human angle. So, with that thought, technology, we're seeing some of the cusp of technology at the moment. And obviously there's cool things happening. But as the theme of today is, a lot of the cool stuff is what our children are going to do and what our children are going to see. And the stories that our children can tell, if we help them with the technology today, the mind just boggles as to what could happen 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, 50 years down the line. The World Wide Web only came out about 20 years ago. I'm sure Sue will probably correct me and give me the correct date and the timestamp and everything when it came out. Tim Berners-Lee, Sue Murphy's here, and rightly so. But the World Wide Web is a very new technology. But look at the cool stuff that we can do already. Look at the people we can connect to. We're here in our room today, but there's people watching on the live feed. There could be people twittering about it. There's going to be people blogging about it afterwards. Technology connects everybody. And from a child's point of view, that technology is only going to be amazingly better from here on in. And it's their stories that they can tell us from now to whenever that's going to continue to make change. And with that in mind, there's a young guy called, excuse me, Graham Stewart, sorry. The young guy called Graham Stewart, who's from Ottawa. He's got his own story to tell. And I'd like to bring Graham up here. I'm sure you make Graham very welcome. I'd like to bring Graham up here to tell his own story with his guitar.
The snow was almost gone and the sun was shining. I was kicking stones and my friends were talking. I had no idea what was about to go down. My mom and my dad, they already knew that it was through. I looked around my yard, it was almost summer. Couldn't wait to spend my days hanging out with my brother, but for some strange reason, the house just wasn't the same. When they told me that night, I got on my bike and I flew. Wind in my face, I was losing the race. I could feel the blood in my veins. I pedaled so hard, I was passing the cars. I felt like I was going insane. Broken bones and broken homes, they both cause you pain. They bring sad songs to your ears. They both bring you to tears, but they don't heal the same. When I look back on that day, I feel so much older. Things are better in some ways, and there's a weight off my shoulders. Some things stay the same. Some things are better off changed. Like how the tide comes in and drowns everything, then goes away. The wind in my face, I was losing the race. I could feel the blood in my veins. I pedaled so hard, I was passing the cars. I felt like I was going insane. Broken bones and broken homes, they both cause you pain. They bring sad songs to your ears, they both bring you to tears, but they don't heal the same. When I look back on that day, I feel so much older. Things are better in some ways, and there's a weight off my shoulders. Some things stay the same, some things are better off changed. Like how a family splits up, your love ain't enough, but it's okay. The wind in my face, the wind in the race, I can feel the blood in my veins. I'm pedaling so hard, I'm still passing the cars. I feel like it's gonna be okay. Broken bones and broken homes, they both cause you pain. They bring sad songs to your ears, they both bring you to tears, but they don't heal the same.
Wasn't that cool? Yeah. I think that ties in perfectly with the whole ethos of today and what we are trying to do as collective people, as individuals. It's sharing a story, sharing your story, and opening up and allowing others to tell their stories that become one story and just makes change. The future is a blank page. It's an open book. It's entirely up to you how you walk away from whatever you do today, tomorrow, the day after, the week after. Whatever you take away from anything that you learn or hear or speak about or share, the future's an open book. Use the technology that we have, but don't forget the human angle, because at the end of the day, that's what we are, and that's people that make the change around us. Thank you.